Hello and welcome to the Presenter's Survival Guide Time Crunch Edition. This episode is for anyone who needs to deliver a presentation in a limited amount of time. So let's get started. Welcome to Glenn's Design's Presenter's Survival Guide Time Crunch Edition. This episode assumes you are familiar with slide applications and have basic computer knowledge. Module 1, Storyline. In this series, I will cover the basics of what you need in order to put together a presentation that is clear, concise, and engaging. There are 3 modules in this edition: Storyline, Visual Messaging, and Click Cadence. So let's begin with Storyline. Okay, so here's the premise. You have been given 3 days to deliver a presentation. What do you do next? First, let's cover the basics. Number 1, time. When are you delivering your presentation? What day and what hour? 2, location. If it's feasible, try to check out the facilities to determine what are your needs. Do you need to bring your laptop? Do they have a projector? Do they have a screen? What is the setup and the overall format of the area you're going to be speaking? 3, audience. Are they investors, VPs, VCs, certain organizations? I recommend you do the research on whoever your audience is so that you can better connect with them in a more authentic way. 4, outcome. Is this an investor deck looking for funding, or are you there to inspire others to take positive action? What is the outcome you are seeking? Now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about the content of your presentation. For example, when I did my wow factor presentation regarding the impact well-designed slides can have on your presentations, I discovered there were many points I wanted to make. So my first step was to write them all down. After you have everything written down, circle the bigger ideas. Next, research your subject to find examples, stats, and any other information you need to support your points. We'll talk about the kinds of images to use in the next module. Next, story structure. The key to storyline is to make sure your presentation starts and follows a logical train of thought. Next, how do you wish to begin your presentation? Are you starting with the big picture, or with a story or allegory that creates a framework for your presentation? Or are you starting with a summary statement that sets up the rest of your presentation? For example, we create presentations for the distracted audience with visuals that not only get their attention, but also engages them emotionally. Be sure to include the basics of what, why, and how. And lastly, be sure to have a call to action at the end. In other words, what do you want your audience to do after? Order your book? Do you want them to contact you? What is your call to action? Go ahead and download the slide presentation outline PDF provided and open it in Adobe Acrobat. First, start with entering the words you circled from your short form description into the slide titles section, starting on page 1 of the PDF. If you need more than 10 slides, you'll have to save multiple versions of the PDF. Next, fill in the slide content section for each slide. And remember to keep it brief. Next, fill in the purpose section. Here, you want to be clear about what you want to communicate. Next, fill in the speaker narrative dialogue section. These are your speaker notes. This is for what you are saying but not showing. This is also a good place to put your transitions from one slide to the next. Next, fill in the images section. List any images you think will support the message or messages in your slide, such as charts, examples, or something that will help highlight your point or points. Once you have all the information down, go back and read through your outline to make sure that it has flow. In other words, does it follow a logical train of thought? You may need to rearrange the slides at this point. Because each slide is on a different page, this can easily be done. Module 2, Visual Messaging. Image search. Now that you have your outline completed, refer to the Images section for each slide. You want to avoid using images with watermarks. Treat your presentation like it's a TED Talk. TED and TEDx require images that have been purchased with a rights to use license. I recommend purchasing images from stock image websites like Storyblocks, iStock, or Shutterstock. Let's talk about file organization. After you locate the images you want to use, save them to a folder. I recommend you create a folder for each slide. It will make it easier to find later. Additionally, you should use the slide title as the name of the folder instead of the slide number, as the slide number may change while you're working on it. Next, building the deck. Here is where you want to open your slide application and start filling in the content for each slide. If your company has a presentation template, great. If not, you can use a template that looks similar to other collateral your company or business uses, such as your company's website or printed collateral. Next, add in animation and transitions. Animation is best used in slides that have a lot of content and you need to explain things in steps. For example, when I co-led a workshop for Rotary International, there were many steps that had to be covered in a short amount of time. This is one example of how I did that. Regarding transitions, it's best to use only one throughout your presentation. Too many transitions can be distracting. Next, we'll be talking about click cadence and practicing with your slides to make sure it has flow. Welcome to Module 3. Click cadence. Now that you have your outline and visuals in your presentation, let's talk about your click cadence. A click refers to advancing to the next action in a presentation. Click cadence is the back and forth tempo between the audience's attention on you and on the contents of your slide. The clicks determine the cadence. Remember, you want to be in control of what the audience looks at. Slides that have too much information or are distracting can break that tempo. Remember to practice, but don't over-practice. You don't want your presentation to feel mechanical or rehearsed. Be sure to get hydrated and get plenty of rest. And there you have it. Some basic information to get you out of a bind the next time you need to give a presentation with limited amount of time. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this information helpful. Be sure to subscribe and feel free to leave a comment below. We read all of our comments and appreciate your feedback.